Hi there, Prairie Plant Girl here. Welcome back to my little series that I've put together on gardening books that I enjoy. So the next 5 books that we're going to look at are books that are geared towards native gardening and eco-friendly gardening. And I have 5 books that I really enjoy looking at and reading that really guide me in my decisions that I make as far as native plant choices and eco-friendly gardening. Some other great gardening books that I really like for my climate are these Linden Pinner books. I'm sure he has more than these 2 books out, but these are the 2 that I have. I first started reading his books just online through the library, and I decided I just needed to own the books because they have a lot of great information in them. Even though they're not written so much as a reference type book, they're nice reading books, but they have a lot of super information, and if you look through them, you can find what you're looking for. Lots of great photos, but lots of super information about how to grow things like this right here. Just turned to a random page. Special considerations when choosing plants for growing native plants, and it'll tell you all sorts of things that you might want to know about that. Another thing is he doesn't mince words, because you can grow all sorts of native plants, but some just are not going to behave, and they're not going to have the same beauty in a smaller landscape type setting like most yards are. So he won't pretend that they do. He'll say, you know what, this is the true native plant that grows out in the wild, that's been here for many, many years, but there are new introductions bred from this plant that will work much better in your garden and in your yard. And he's not afraid to say that. And I appreciate that honesty in a book, because someone who advocates mostly for native plants, it's sometimes hard to find those types of authors that are still willing to suggest that you grow something that's based off the original native. And he's not shy about doing that. Lots of great information. This one is fun. Plants for a short season yard. And he goes actually through the different varieties in this one. And this is his best picks for the Chinook and Canadian prairie zones. So he also addresses the Chinook weather that people in Alberta, like Calgary and that area, have. And that can be a really tricky climate in that little area. And it's not a huge part of even Canada, let alone the world, that gets that type of weather. So you don't often find that information, and he does address that in this book, and I think that's fabulous. Not something I actually have a lot of worry about, though we've been having more the last few winters where we get some of those warm spells. But this book, he does go through and list different varieties. There's Monarda, or you might know it as bee balm. Here's blue-eyed grass. So he just goes through with the different varieties and talks about them, and I really enjoy this book. Both of these are great. If you were going to get just one, I would probably go with this one. It's a little bit more of a reference book. This one's a little bit more of great reading, though it does have in the back a little kind of design planner. So this is more about, talking about the different color combinations, heights, texture, and just, how you place your plants. That is really important if you're looking to start a new garden and you're maybe feeling a little nervous. I'm just trying to find here. He has little worksheets in the back and little garden planning kind of help to get you started on what you might want to do, because planning can be pretty important when going through a yard. He goes through like this whole section is color. Let's see if I can find another one here. This one's designing for life. So, designing so that, it's a space that works for you. He talks about design trends, and he actually has in the back at the very end, he talks about how to do consultations, but then he talks about, I'm trying to find the little area here. He goes through and critiques he gives his little critique on different snapshots of different spaces, and gets you kind of thinking about some things that you might not always notice. The only complaint I would say is some of these photos, he knows what's in them and he's seen them from other views and angles, and obviously he's picked the best photo that works, not only for what he's talking about, but also to fit in, I'm sure, the page setup as well. And so sometimes I find the photos are a little bit difficult to interpret along with what he's saying in this one little section, but still lots of great information in this section. So Linden Pinner's garden design for the short season yard and native plants for the short season yard. So I would say those are the next books that I go to the most. They're a little bit newer for me. They have a little bit of newer information in them, but definitely books that I go to a lot. Some other books that I really enjoy are just kind of, and I enjoy these just more for looking through them, looking at the pictures. This one I picked up at an estate sale actually, and it has a beautiful list of Canadian native plants. It came with all sorts of bookmarks. Whoever had it before me absolutely loved it as well. But just gorgeous photography, lots of beautiful information about the plants. It's not so much growing information for a gardener, it's just information about where you find them in Canada. So, and this, I don't even think it ever had a dust cover when I got it. It's called Canadian Wildflowers by Ferguson and Saunders. And it's broken up into different areas, conditions and climate type areas. Like this is what marshes, bogs, and wet places. Here's the Arctic, the Alpine area, and it just lists the plants in those areas. And I mean, obviously probably not all of them, but lots of this absolutely gorgeous photography and great information. And at the very beginning of each of those sections, it gives you a little bit of an insight into what those types of areas and climates, spaces, growing spaces are like, so that you really understand if that's the space that you have or not, if you are looking to grow, or if you're looking for these plants just to find them in the wild and admire them. This is one I actually have grows in my garden. It's actually a little bit invasive, but I still enjoy it. And so I usually let a few of the plants grow and then try and just cut them back before they go to seed. But it helps. It's very helpful. There's great photos, great descriptions. So if I have a plant that I'm not sure if it's native or not, often I can find it in here and identify it. And then these two I picked up at a secondhand store one day, and I've enjoyed going through them and reading them. Again, this one's called Grow Wild, Native Plant Gardening in Canada by Lorraine Johnson. And just another beautiful book with lots of great descriptions, and it has, you know, just broken up into different areas of Canada. This one's a meadow symphony, and you can see the beautiful photo, and then it'll go through some of the plants you might find in a meadow. And I believe this one also tells you, yeah, it has here where it'll kind of give you an idea of plants from that area that would grow well together. So it'll give you a list of different plant combinations that this author anyways finds attractive together. And sometimes it's hard to know, and I don't know, because you don't see native plants, I guess, in garden centers and things as often. Like often you have to grow them from seed. So sometimes we're not exactly clear, or is it just me, on how they're going to actually really truly look in real life. You know, you see lots of stunning pictures, often close-ups of the flowers or the leaves or whatnot, but you don't always get a backed up look of the plant. And that goes a long way to knowing how it's going to fit together with other plants. So again, some just beautiful photography and good information in here. And this book, again, found it at a secondhand store. This book is full of great information. And once I got reading it, I realized I have also borrowed this in digital format from the public library. And I was really happy then that I actually had it in my collection to read. This goes through some great information So it has discussion on your soil, your dirt, what dirt is, what lives in your dirt, how to keep it healthy. It's really about organic gardening and sustainable gardening. So it talks about compost. There's watering. Oh, there's old wives' tales, and I think there's there's planting by the sun and moon cycles. Found that very interesting. It's not something that I do, but I've heard lots about. So it's kind of interesting to read that little section there. Oh yes, and the bugs. That was a great one too. I really enjoyed that area about the reading about the bugs. So I can tell I haven't read this in a while and I need to go back and read it again. So I'm going to be doing that this winter because I've forgotten some of the amazing things that are actually in this book. This book is not one if you're looking for eye candy. Like it's drawings. You're not going to find lots of beautiful glossy photos in here, which I think goes along with what this book is talking about. You know, it's nice paper, but it's not glossy photos and things that don't recycle well. So, but it's a great book. Do you enjoy my videos? Then help me out and let YouTube know that by going below this video and hitting the notification icon, which is a little bell, and the subscribe button. That'll keep my videos coming up for you to find them, and it'll let YouTube know that my videos are worth promoting. So I hope you found some inspiration from this and enjoyed seeing these books that I enjoy. And I will do my best to try and find some links for you if you're interested in purchasing these books, and I'll put them in the description down below. I know the 2 Linden Pinner books I purchased off of Amazon, so I'm sure I can still find those links again. Like I said, these other books were secondhand to me, so I'll do my best. I'm not sure if I'll be able to find them for you. Thanks for watching. Bye.